and the 3 digits of your student number. Okay, I can still see some names are in Thai. Please follow the simple instructions. "23." Okay, 23 is another side. All right, so let's start. Time is 1 o'clock and 3 minutes in my clock. All right, so how are you today? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, teacher.
How are you today, guys?
I think I'm good, teacher.
You think you're good. All right, so it's good to know. So I know some of you may not be feeling well, or you might have a little bit of problem, but that doesn't mean that you will not be okay. Okay, just keep fighting. All right, so whatever life brings you, so just don't forget to smile and just susu in your language, just fighting. All right, so maybe some of you are not feeling well, some of you have financial problem, some of you have a relationship problem, okay, all kinds of problem in the world, because as long as we are still alive, problems will always be there. Okay, you should always remember that. Okay, so don't think that why my life is like this, why my other friends they have everything that they want. Okay, so stop complaining about life. You just enjoy. You just look at the brighter side of life. Just be thankful that you are alive today. You've got a chance to talk to your family, your friends, and yes, you're attending your class. Okay? So I hope you guys are doing well. Okay, that's the only thing that I can encourage you at this time. Okay. All right. So for this afternoon, as we discussed last week, we talked about the history of English. So we've learned where the English words came from Germanic to different part of the world, the countries who contributed all the words to be officially in the English language. So today is our online class session number 3 because we already did our makeup class last week. That was last Wednesday for 2 hours. So I'm hoping to meet you again for another 2 hours to complete the second week pending hours. All right. So today is Monday and the day is December 13, 2021. And our class for today is from 1 o'clock or 1 p.m. to 5 o'clock. But as we go along, we will try to make some activities so that you guys can relax. Okay? Not too much pressure. All right, so before that, let me check your attendance. Say present as I call your name. Number 1, Yada.
Present.
Present. Up.
Present, teacher.
Present. Mo, number 3.
Present.
Number 4, Proud.
Present.
Number 5, Nikki.
Present, teacher.
Present. All right. All right. Before I continue, I'm checking your attendance in the beginning of the class and before we end, because some of you might join the class for the attendance and just leave. Okay, so we will try to make it that way. Number 6, my
Present.
present. Number 7,
Present.
jam. Present. 8, fresh. Present. Number 9, tay. Tay, are you here? Are you there? All right. Number 10, ba.
Present.
Present. Number 11, fun.
Present.
Present. Number 12, gum.
Present.
13, tata. Here. 14, oat.
Present.
Present. 15, tin.
Present.
All right, number 16, B.
Present.
Present, you're here. 17, pling.
Present.
Present. Number 18, sand. Present. Number 19, tay. Tay number 2.
Present.
Present, you're here. Number 20, nampech.
Present.
You're here, thank you. 6, 8, 5,
Present.
prim. Present. Number 22, are you still not around? Because this is the third time that you are not present. You were absent. 686, so I don't know who you are since I cannot read your name in Thai. Number 23, Miss Fana.
Present.
Present. 24, Mil.
Present.
Present. 25, Muni.
Present.
Present. 26, Mild.
Present.
Present. 27, Roymi.
Present.
Present. 20, 28. No, 28, Beam.
Present.
Present. 29, another Beam. Beam 2. Beam 2, 29. 694. Okay. Number 30, 695, Fia.
Present.
Present. Number 31, me.
Present.
Present. Number 32, Arm.
Present, teacher.
All right, Arm is here. So we have 3 more left. Number 33, Key.
Present.
Present. 699, On.
Present.
Present. 700, Asama. Asama, are you there? Number 36, Fika. Number 38, Arwani. Okay, so is there anyone here that your name is not called? This you can tell me now. All right, so no more questions.
Sir Arina present.
Arina, what number are you, please? Arina, can I have your number?
After Africa.
After Afika. Okay, so this is your first time to join the class, is it?
Yeah.
Weekend tip. Arina, correct? Yes, Arina. Okay. Okay, so as you know that your attendance is very important because this is 10% of your total grades. Okay, for the whole semester, 10% of your grade comes from your attendance. Okay, and again, 40% is your output, like homework and speaking activities. Okay, the 40% is coming from there. Your midterm test is 25, finals 25. So that is the total on where your grades are coming from. Okay, 10% attendance, 40% for your homework, assignments, speaking activities, 25% midterm, and 25% final test. Okay, so I hope it's clear. So this week we are going to talk about the origin of words and accents. As I mentioned to you maybe in the beginning of the class that some of you want to have a clear accent or like maybe American accent. As we know, we know only American and British accents, but there are many accents in the world. Okay, so now today we are going to learn, is it important? Is it important to have a good accent, especially in speaking English? Okay, so before that, the first lessons that we are going, what is this one?
Excuse me, teachers.
Yes.
Sit
Yes.
in the wrong class. Sorry.
Me?
Me.
Okay, okay.
Sorry.
All right. No problem. It's okay. You can
Yeah,
just
yeah.
leave. All right.
Thanks,
Thank you.
thanks,
All right. Okay, why is this coming? All right. So the accent. So when we say accent, it is something like, for example, you are a Thai, and then when you speak English, people will recognize or notice that you are not a native speaker. How? Because of your accent. Okay, like for example, Sakun, I want to go to Sakun. So something like that. Okay, I'm talking in that way, the weird way. But again, we're talking about accent because we will try to understand how important is accent, or is it really important? Okay, we will try to find out today about your accent, my accent, what is the acceptable accent, or is it really important to learn and to speak like an American, like British, like Australian? Okay, so we are going to find out first what is an accent. So as I've done my okay, by the way, class, if you want to get the soft copy of our lesson today, you go to our Google Classroom. Okay, I posted the soft copy of our lesson for today. I just don't intend to post it on Facebook. I think it's better to keep everything in Google Classroom. Okay, you can check there. All right, so according to accent and social linguistics. Okay, so maybe this is a lot of readings for today. I may need your help to read some of it. Okay, so let me ask Yada, can you please read the first paragraph? Yada, can you do the favor, please? Yada will read the first one and then.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Please go ahead.
In sociolinguistics, an accent is a manner of pronunciation peculiar to a particular individual, location, or nation. An accent may be identified with the locality in which its speakers reside. A regional or geographical accent, the
Socioeconomic.
socioeconomic status of its speakers, their ethnicity and acknowledged their caste or social class, a social accent, or influence from their first language, a foreign accent.
All right, thank you, Yada. So it says here an accent is a manner of pronunciation. So it is peculiar to a particular individual, location, or nation. As I mentioned to you, we have our own accent, and that is our identity. Okay, there's nothing to be ashamed of that. So that means if you're speaking in that way, this is your mother tongue, and you're just adapting English as your second language. And of course, we have to be better in adapting the second language. Number 2, the second paragraph, up.
You can hear, teacher?
Yes, I can.
Accent typically differ in quality of voice, pronunciation, and distinction of vowel and consonant, stress, and prosody. Also, grammar, semantics, vocabulary, and other language characteristics often vary concurrently. With accent, the word accent may refer specifically to the difference in pronunciation, whereas the word dialect encompasses the broader set of linguistic different. Accent is often a subset of dialect.
Thank you. So again, accent it says here, is often a subset of dialect. So unlike in Thailand, you have only one dialect, I guess, only Thai. But in other countries, most especially, I'm talking about the Philippines, we have like 100 something dialects, not only just one. So in every region, in every province, they have their own dialect. Dialect means the mother tongue, that the language that you are spoken at home or within your locality, in the community. So that's what we call the dialect. So when you heard someone talking in that accent, even though not only just in English, if we speak, Tagalog, and we are coming from a different part of the country, so we have that accent, okay? Accent from our local dialect. Dialect is the language that you have spoken within your locality, at home or in the local society. Okay, someone sending me a message. Jam. All right, Jam, no problem. I'll take a note of that. Okay, so to continue with, all right, now we are going to study about the history of accent. How did this come from, where it is coming from, and whatsoever. Okay, Mo, can you please read the first one?
Yes, teacher.
Yes, please.
As human beings split out into isolated communities, traits, and
Peculiarities.
develop. Over time, they can develop into identifiable accents. In North America, the interaction of people from many
Ethnic.
ethnic background contributed to formation of the different variety of North American accent. It is difficult to
Measure.
or predict how long it takes an accent to form. Accent from Canada, South Africa, Australia and the United States, for example, developed
Developed.
from the combination of different accents and languages in
Languages.
languages
It's okay.
various society and their effect on the various pronunciation of British
Settlers. All right. Thank you. So it says here the history of as human beings spread out into isolated communities, stresses and peculiarities develop. What do you mean by isolated communities? Those are the communities who doesn't have a contact in the outside world, like in the mountains or in the village. Okay, that's what we're talking about here. So it says over time they can develop into identifiable accents. So it says like over time, as time passes by, they will have their own accents. And because the reason that they come up with that or they have that kind of accents is because they are not aware of what other accents are within their countries. Okay. In North America, the interaction of people from many ethnic backgrounds contributed to the formation of the different varieties of North American accents. So it says here from the North American accents. So it says it is difficult to measure or predict how long it takes an accent to form. So we don't know how long. Difficult to predict. So accents from Canada, South Africa, Australia, and the United States, for example, develop from the combinations of different accents and languages. It's not only that it is coming from, okay, Canadian accents, South African accents. No, it is a formation together. That's why it formed into that kind of accents. And the reason is, it is the effect of the various pronunciations of British settlers. Okay, so that when the British just go and influence their accent. Thank you, Yada. Sorry, Mo. Let's go for number 4. Proud. Proud, I can't hear you. Number 4, proud. Okay, number 5, can you help me, Key?
Oh, can you hear me, teacher?
Yes, please. Milky, yes, I
Okay.
can.
Okay. Accents may vary between regions of an area in which a uniform language is spoken. In some cases, such as regional accents of English in the United States, accents can be tagged back to taste, right here?
Yes, correct.
Back to when an area was settled and by whom. Areas like the city of New Orleans in Louisiana, that are all at one point in time were isolated, have distinct accents due to the absence of contact between regions. Oral dialects to expand and evolved independently. Social and economic factors can also influence the way people speak.
All right, thank you, Mickey. So it says here, accents may vary within regions of an area in which a uniform language is spoken. In some cases, such as regional accents of English in the United States, accents can be traced back to when an area was settled and home. Areas like the city of the New Orleans in Louisiana that are at once home, areas like the city are point in time were semi-isolated. Semi-isolated have distinct accents due to the absence of contact within regions. Isolated regions allow dialects to expand and evolve independently. Social and economic factors can also influence way people speak. So as I told you earlier, that those people who doesn't have contact within their locality, with urban regions, over time they can produce their own accent. Okay, so the reasons, social and economic factors. I mean, they don't have the socialization with the next, maybe next region near to their places. So that's why they will have or develop their own accent. All right, continue. The development. Okay. Please read number 6. Mai?
Yes,
It's a little, yes, go ahead. A little bit long, but you can do it.
oh my goodness.
just do it slowly, okay? We have 4 hours.
Okay, teacher. The biological foundation for accent development begins in the womb, even before an infant is capable
Yes.
capable of different
Differentiating.
differentiating
Yes.
verbal as
Cues.
as around 6 months old. It is imperative that parents speak to their children during pregnancy and in what's known critical period. Critical
Uh-huh.
critical period in
Okay.
the first few years of life. During this period of rapid cognitive development, it is much easier to develop and master foreign skills such as learn a new or first language, verbal cues.
It's not cute, not cues. It's not cute, cues. Okay, I'm just joking, all right?
Are processed and silently learn in preparation for the day. The vocal system is developed enough to speak its first words, usually around 20 months
12.
before. 12 months before infants can identify words. They just hear sounds that they come to recognize. Eventually, neural pathways are
established
in the brain that link each sound with a meaning.
Okay, you made it. Congrats. All right, so let me read again. Thank you so much, Mai, for that. Okay, I know it's too long, but we have to practice our reading. Okay, so it says here, let me read again, development. The biological foundation for accent develop begins in the womb. So if you are pregnant and you have a baby, so but where you're still in your mother's womb, you are already developing the accents. Okay, womb means that in the tummy, in the stomach. Okay, even before an infant is capable of differentiating verbal cues at around 6 months old. It is imperative that parents speak to their children during pregnancy, and it's known the critical period in the first few years of life. So as you can see, like maybe your friends, your mother, when they are pregnant, they're talking to their babies in the tummy. Hey, how are you over there? Right? So that is what we call the critical period. So in these years, in this during this pregnancy, this is called the critical, like the first few years of life. So during this period of rapid cognitive development, it is easier to develop and master foreign skills such as to learn a new or first language. Okay. Verbal cues are processed and silently learned in preparation for the day that vocal system is developed enough to speak its first word, usually around 12 months. Before infants can identify words, they just hear sounds. Okay, so when you are a baby, you don't speak right away. Right? They just like bubbling sounds, like that. But you have that accent already in you. Eventually, the neural pathways are established in the brain that link each sound with a meaning. So that is the starting point in how you started talking when you were a baby. You just hear the sound from the people around you, from your parents, from your siblings. Okay, so that is the first development. Okay, to continue. Since Jam cannot speak, some microphone problem, I guess, let's ask Fresh, number 8. Fresh, this is also a little bit longer, but you can. Yes, Fresh. Concerned? Concerned? Children? Graduate? Act? Immersed? Determine? Lives? Cultivated? the neural All right, thank you so much, Fresh, for your help. Okay, so it says here, the more frequently a word is heard, the more its connection is solidified, and the same goes for accent. That means if you frequently heard a kind of word, especially like if you want to have a good accent, or if you want to be fluent in English, and you are in Thailand where people are not speaking English, so do you think you can learn or you can practice or you can adopt the accent? There's no way that you can learn it. So what most people do, they will send their children or their kids abroad to study in the USA, in Australia, New Zealand. For that, when they come back to their home country, they have different accent. They can still speak Thai, but Thai will be in a different accent because that is the influence of the environment, because that person or that student never heard Thai words or Thai accents around her or around him. So daily or every day, that is changing him because the way he talked, the way he created the words will be entirely different from his or her original accent. Okay. And it says here, there is no standard accent for the child to practice. As far as they're concerned with the accent they hear from their parents is not the right way. It's the only way. Okay, so you cannot choose. You can, as parents, as mother and father of the kids, they cannot choose their accents for the babies to hear. So for them, this is their parents' accents, then the baby will develop the same accent. Eventually, children graduate from the conscious act of recalling each word. It becomes natural like breathing. So as in the long run, it depends on the environment the baby or that the baby will become or will have the same accent as the parents. As children grow up, they learn vocabulary of the language they are immersed in, whether assisted by parents or not. So as I've told you, it depends upon the environment. So if you are not a native speaker but you live in a native country like USA, the kids will have or develop different words, different accents because you are immersed in a different community. So you will be influenced. However, their first few encounters with words determine the way they'll pronounce them for the rest of their lives. So if you can hear people speaking in Thai, but in a slang accent, you will say like, why is she talking like that? She just went to the USA for 10 years. When she came back, she speaks differently. You cannot blame that person. You cannot tell why she's speaking in that way because she was in that situation. She was in that environment where people speak different language, different accent. So when she comes back to her home country, that accent will be in her already. You cannot just easily like take it out from you because it's in your system already. Okay, so this is how accents are cultivated in groups as small as towns and as large as countries. It is compounding effect. Though it's possible to develop a new accent or lose an old one, it's difficult because the neural pathways created when the learning language were developed with original pronunciations. So as I told you, even though you speak very fluent in Thai, once you leave the country and move to another country where the accent and language is different, you will change. You can forget this, believe me. Over time, you will forget your accent and your language because that's how it goes. Okay, so we have here this next paragraph. Let me ask Tay, can you help? I think you can read this 1, 2, and 3. Number 9. Hey, are you there? Oh, I think he's absent today. All right, number 10, ba? 674.
Yes,
Yes, please.
students are able to take on accent
Relatively
relatively quickly children of
Immigrant.
immigrant families of example.
For example,
Generally have a
pronunciation.
More similar to people native to where they live compared to their parents, but both children and parents may have an accent.
Noticeably,
Noticeably differing from local people. Accents seem to remain relatively malleable until a person early 20s, after which a person's accent seems to become more and
entranced. Okay. People's accent. Continue, please.
People's accent may slowly
Morph
into someone else's to whom they listen a lot. This is especially commonplace in modern times, with people listening to online media, for example, video on YouTube, a lot in which the speaker can easily has a different accent.
Last. Nonetheless,
Accents are not
fixed.
Even in
Adulthood.
adulthood.
Hood.
And
Acoustic. Analysis.
By Jonathan Harrington of
Elizabeth II's
Second Royal Christmas Message revealed that the speech pattern of events so conservative
as a monarch.
as monarch can continue to change over her lifetime.
Thank you, but it's too long, but you made it. All right, so it says here, children are able to take an accent relatively quickly. Children of immigrants' families, for example, generally have a pronunciation more similar to people native to where they live compared to their parents, but both children and parents may have an accent noticeably differing from local people. Accents seem to remain relatively malleable until a person's early 20s, after which a person's accent seems to become more entranced. So this is what I'm talking about. If your parents move to the United States and bring you there, like when you were if you are a baby, and then your parents have different accents, and you as a kid, as you grow older, you also have different accent. Why? Because you are merging with different kind of people. And your parents, way back home, they are speaking in their own dialect, their own language. So as time goes by, the kids have a different accents from the parents. So where they will learn it? They will learn it from the community, from the school, from the people around them. And it says here, people's accents may slowly morph into someone else's, to whom they listen a lot. This is especially commonplace in modern times, with people listening to online media, for example, videos in YouTube, a lot in which the speaker can easily have a different accent. So we will talk about nowadays, what are the influences into somebody else's or a person's accent. So as we have discussed earlier, the children or the small kids, they are the vulnerable ones to be, what is this? To be, to learn the different accents. For example, they're watching Peppa Pig. Are you guys familiar with Peppa Pig? So my niece, she's always watching Peppa Pig on YouTube. And Peppa Pig has a British accent English, like it's a cartoons. Like, mother, mother, I want to drink water. Like, it's something like that. So now I was just shocked when I talked to my niece and she's talking to me in that accent. Then I asked her mother, how did she come up with this British accent, like when the way she talked? Then they said, she's watching Peppa Pig every day, and that's in YouTube. So see the influence. She never learned it in school. She's just 3 years old, but she speaks English and in British accent. Reason? Watching YouTube. Because in YouTube there are many kind of accents. I mean, it's English, but the accents are plenty. Okay. Nonetheless, accents are not fixed even in adulthood. An acoustic analysis by Jonathan Harrington of Elizabeth II's Royal Christmas Messages revealed that the speech patterns or even so conservative a figure of a monarch can continue to change over her lifetime. So, but that doesn't mean that that accent that you are learning or you learn right now will be forever. No, it will continue to change. It will continue to change. Like maybe now you having this American accent. Later on, when you move to a different place, you'll change your accent again. So it depends. It's an environmental influence. Okay, now let's go to the non-native language. What is non-native language? These are the countries whose English is not their first language. They're learning English, but as a second language. So let me ask number 11, Fawn, to help to read.
Okay. Accent of non-native speaker may be the lesser of the speaker native language. Each language contains distinct sets of sounds. As around 12 months of age, human infants will pick out which sounds they need to learn their language. As they get older, it becomes increasingly harder to learn these forgotten sounds. A prime example of this can be seen between German and English. The W and TH sounds, like in the English words which and this, respectively, do not exist in German. The consonant sounds are V and C. As a result, many English-speaking Germans pronounce wish and wish, and this as sit. A similar digestion occurs in German-speaking native English speakers who may find it difficult to pronounce the vowels in German words as
Schon,
beautiful, and mood tried.
Okay, good job. Wow, you read so well. Okay, that's good. So it says here for non-native accents. So they just set an examples here that non-native speakers may be a result of the speaker's native language. So it says each language contains distinct sets of sound at around 12 months of age. So it says, so they make an example here from German and English. So it says that W and TH sounds, as you know, W sounds like wah, wah, right? Like we, want, what. So that is the sound of W, wah, wah. And the TH sounds as. So in German, they don't have this kind of sounds. It's not in their IPA, let's say. It's not in their language. So what the Germans did, the closest sound, okay, the closest sound. For example, the W, the closest sounds of W is letter V. And the closest sound of TH is letter Z. So T and Z. So as a result, many English-speaking Germans produce wish as wish, wish, wish. So why? Because they don't have in their own dialect. They don't have it in their local language. So what they do? Just the closest accent or the closest sound that they can hear, they will do it or use it as a substitute. And the word this will become this. Okay? So just like in Thais, you don't have the V sounds, correct? V, V, V. You don't have it in your alphabet. Am I correct? V, the V sounds. Like vase, V, V. Violin. So what you always do is you substitute it with W. Okay, W. Like instead of saying vase, you will say vase. Instead of saying what's the other word for V? Vitamilk. You will say Vitamil. Okay, because I can't blame you. It's not to make fun, but it is not in your language. That sound is not in your language that's your native language. So you say Vitamil, Vitamil. So you called Vi to Y. So which is understood because we are not native speakers. We are non-native. This is our non-native accents. So it says here, a similar disjunction occurs in German-speaking native English speakers who may find it difficult to pronounce the vowels in German, such as Sean, beautiful, and mood, tired. So it's the same ways goes around. Excuse me, someone sent me. Oh, number 9. Your nickname is Nati, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Where did I get this Tay? I don't know. I just wrote it here, Tay. But okay, let me change it. Nati. Sorry, Nati. Yeah, actually, I was wondering because in the beginning of the class, I remember you. You were so. All right, Nati. But Nati, have you finished reading? All right, so continue. Nati, did you read yet?
Not yet.
Not yet because I called Tay, right?
Yes.
All right. Okay, Nati, it's your turn.
An important factor in predicting the degree to which the accent will be not just low or strong is the age at which the non-native languages what learns. The study called theory start that if learning straight, that if learning take a break after the critical period, usually consider allow publicly for acquiring negative like pronunciation and individual in interval is unlike to acquire a negative like accent. Acquire a negative like accent. The drawing, however, is quite controversial among leisure, although many subscribe to some form of the cynical pilot, they interpret it easier than probability or consider it more of a skeptical window, which many vary from one individual to other and depend on factors other than age, such as length of listening, similarity of the non-native language to the native language, and faculty, the faculty which both languages are used.
All right. Thank you, Nati. That's good. Okay. So it says here, according to Nati, as what Nati read, he says an important factor in predicting the degree to which the accents will be noticeable or strong is the age of which the non-native languages was learned. Okay. So the critical period theory states that if learning takes place after the critical period, usually considered around puberty. Puberty is like your teenage days. Okay. For acquiring native-like pronunciation, an individual is unlikely to acquire a native-like accent. This theory, however, is quite controversial among researchers. Although many subscribe to some form of the critical period, they either place it earlier than puberty or consider it more as a critical window, okay, which may vary from one individual to another and depend on factors other than age, such as the length of residence in the non-native language to the native language and the frequency which both languages are used. So as I told you, it depends. You cannot tell that, oh, you are still young. You can learn the language. You can get a different accent. But then again, it depends on the length of residence. So if you stay there in this particular place for a short period of time, then don't expect that you will adopt the language or the accent from this particular place. Okay, so it varies. It doesn't mean that you stayed or you were young that you can easily adopt it, but still, if you stay there for a short period of time, that doesn't matter. So the longer the time, the bigger the effect or the adoption in to yourself. Okay, to continue. Can you please help me, number 12,
Okay, teacher.
please?
Nevertheless, children as young as 6 at the time of moving to another country often speak with a noticeable non-native accent as adults. There are also rare instances of individuals who are able to pass for native speakers even if they learn their non-native language in early adulthood. However, neurological constraints associated with brain development appear to limit most non-native speakers' ability to sound native. Like most research agree that for adults, acquiring a native-like accent in a non-native language is near impossible.
Good job. Thank you, Gam. So it says here, nevertheless, children as young as 6 at the time of moving to another country often speak with a noticeable non-native accents as adults. Okay, so when you move to a new place, so these children are like noticeable. That means their accent is very strong. So there are also rare instances of individuals who are able to pass for non-native speakers, even if they learn for non-native language in early adulthood. So for example, like there are many inspirational speakers like who are from Asia, okay, but when you don't see them, if you just listen to them talking, you can think that, oh, it's either American or a native speaker, but once you see their faces, they're not. Okay, they're just normal non-native speakers. but their accents and all are different. Why? Because they adopted it. They adopted it in their residence or wherever they are living. However, it says here, neurological constraints associated with brain development appear to limit most non-native speakers' ability to sound native-like. So it says here, like it has a limit for non-native speakers, okay, especially if you're not using the language every day. So most researchers agree that for adults, acquiring a non-native like accent in a non-native language is near impossible. That's true. Okay, so I understand, like, if you, my students, are having a hard time adopting the accent that you wanted to have, like, oh, I wanted to sound like an American, I wanted to sound like a British, I wanted to sound different, I don't want to sound like a Thai when I speak English. But I know you are having a hard time because you are in this place where most people speak Thais. Okay, so you might be thinking, I want to speak like you, I want to speak like her, I want to speak like that guy on TV, he speaks English so nicely. But then again, you are struggling to copy those people because of your environment. You speak Thai at home, you speak Thai with your friends, you speak Thai with your closest relatives at school. So you speak English only during your English time or English classes. So it's not that easy. It's a struggle, and I understand, and I know that. Okay, so let's continue. Social factors. So let me ask number 13, could you please help? Tata. This is actually, students, class, this is a recitation, okay? I am giving you points for your speaking or for your readings today. Tata is not here, then please oath number 14. Can you? Number 15, Tin.
Can you hear me, teacher?
All right, number 15. Okay, please. Again.
When a group defines a standard pronunciation, speakers who deviate from it are often said to speak with an accent. However, everyone speaks with an accent. People from the United States would speak English with an accent from the point of view of an Australian, and vice versa. Accents such as received pronunciation or general American English may sometimes be erroneously designated in their country of origin as accentless, to indicate that they offer no obvious clue in the speaker's regional or social background.
Thank you, Tin. All right, so it says here in the social factors of accent, when a group defines a standard of pronunciation, speakers who deviate from it are often said to speak with an accent. Okay, however, everyone speaks with an accent. People from the United States would speak English with an accent. From the point of view of an Australian and vice versa, accents such as received pronunciation of general American English may sometimes be erroneously designated in the countries of origin as accentless, to indicate that they offer no obvious clue to the speaker's regional or social background. You know, other people's, like, they're trying not to have their own local accent. If they are Australian, as much as they could, they don't want to let people know that they are from Australia. For the Americans, they're trying to have like a neutral accent. Okay, because there is an accent that we call neutral. So the way I talk now is neutral. I don't sound like an American. I don't sound like a British. It's neutral accent. Okay, that means I don't, like, for example, good afternoon. Today we are going to learn about basic words of English. So I don't speak in that way. As a teacher, I have to speak in a neutral accent in order for you to understand what I'm talking about, because it will be difficult for the beginner to listen if I speak in that speed and if I speak in a different accent. So accentless indicates that they offer no obvious clue to the speaker's regional or social background. Continue. Being understood. Okay. Number 16, B.
Okay, teacher, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Many teachers of, for example, English as a second language neglect to teach speech pronunciation. Many adult and near adult learners of second languages have unintelligible.
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 Unintelligible. Unintelligible.
Unintelligible
Good.
speech patterns that may interfere with their education, profession, and social interaction. Pronunciation in a second for or for foreign
Yes.
foreign language involve more than the correct articulation of individual sounds is
Involves.
production a wide range of complex and subtle distinction which relate sound to meaning at several levels.
All right. Thank you, B. So it says here being understood. Okay. So I know we can relate to this. So it says many teachers of, for example, English as a second language neglect to teach speech pronunciation. So now that you are studying phonetics, so you should expect that we are going to have the speech pronunciation practice. Okay, because this should be learned. Like if you are learning new language, you should learn about proper articulation, the manner of articulation. Articulation means how to place your vocal organs in the right place in order to produce the correct sound. Just like we have the upper and lower lips when we pronounce the sounds M, mother, mother, bad, bad dog. So we have the manner of articulation and the place of articulation in order for us to have proper or correct speech pronunciation. Because if we just listen and mimic the sound, it is almost impossible to learn. So how will you be understood? Like maybe in the first week that we have learned about the chapter 1 of the phonetics, I know some of you may think like, oh, what is this? I don't understand. Because it is really like that. You really have to sit, not only just listening to me discussing about those lessons, but you have to do your best. Okay, you have to do your best to sit and try to understand. Okay, if you cannot find some videos on YouTube or find it in Thai that can explain it to you in Thai, how to follow or how to read the correct pronunciation, especially using the IPA chart, the International Phonetic Alphabet Chart. That will teach you how to pronounce the word. But then again, how would you know how to pronounce the word if you don't know the proper articulation, if you don't know the place of articulation? Like the word So how should it be placed to pronounce that sound? The letter H. Happy. You cannot say happy. You have to enunciate the words or the sound in order for you to produce a good sounds of English. Okay, because this is what your course is all about. So you should put more effort in understanding the places of articulation as we have learned in chapter 1. That is important for you to know. Okay, so it says here, many adults and near adult learners of second languages have unintelligible speech patterns that may interfere with their education, profession, and social interactions. It's true. They are neglected when the classroom. They don't pay much attention in the proper speech pronunciation because they think, okay, it's enough. You can speak English this morning enough. No, if you are a language learners, if you are a linguist, you should know. You should know the proper way. Because how would you be understood if you speak English like oh blah 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 blah. What? Okay, so that's why I'm telling you now. Well, it's still early. You are still first year, so you should spend more time in practicing the proper voicing, the proper articulation. Okay, if possible, every morning you have to exercise your mouth. Like just practice. Okay, pronunciation in the second foreign language involves more than the correct articulation of individual sounds. If you don't have the correct articulation, the sound is not correct. The sound will not be the same. It involves producing a wide range of complex and subtle distinctions which relate sound to meaning at several levels. In every articulation, there is a particular sound. Okay, continue. Teaching of speech pronunciation is neglected in part because of the following myth. So now that we just talked about being the teachers, like we neglect about the speech or the proper pronunciation. So here are the myths. Myth means it's not true. It's myth. It's myth. So number 1. So it says here, let me ask. Number 17, Glenn, can you help?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
Pronunciation isn't important. This is partly false from any perspective. Speech pronunciation forms the vehicle for transmitting the speaker meaning. If the listener does not understand the message, no communication takes place, and also there are other factors involved. One of the most important is the intelligibility of the speaker pronunciation. Students will pick up on their
own.
Some will learn to pronounce the second language intelligibly. Many will not.
Okay, we still have more actually, so we will discuss these two first. Thank you so much, Pling. Okay, so it says here, so the teaching of speech pronunciation. Okay, so as many of you, if you don't have the proper teacher who can teach you the proper speech sounds, it says some teachers will tell pronunciation is not important. Okay, I know you heard that many times. Pronunciation is not important. I'm not saying that it's not important. Okay, because accent, I'm telling you, accent doesn't matter as long as your pronunciation is clear. You have the proper articulation of the sounds. You can pronounce the word letters in the correct manner, then accent will just follow if you have the correct pronunciation. Because some teachers will tell maybe those like pronunciation is not important. What? How come? Okay, so this is patently false from any perspective. Speech pronunciation forms the vehicle to transmitting the speaker's meaning. If the listener does not understand the message, no communications takes place. And although there are other factors involved, one of the most is intelligibility of the speaker's pronunciation. You imagine yourself sitting in a meeting room for 5 hours, listening to a speaker who speaks English like that. How would you feel if the speaker is not speaking English nicely? Like, what? I don't think it will annoy you. Correct? Or you might be nice, just take your smartphone and like, okay, let her talk. And she will be finished in 5 hours. It's like that. Because the thing is, you don't understand, even though how interesting the story is, how nice the speech is, if you don't understand a thing, a word, it's useless. Okay, you were preparing a very good speech. Okay, there is a speech contest tomorrow, and your teacher or you preparing like a winning piece of speech. But then again, when you are in that moment and your pronunciation was not practiced and articulation and all is not good, so it's nothing because you will not be first the message. The purpose of giving this speech is you're giving a message to your listeners, and if your listeners doesn't understand anything at all, then it's useless. It's nothing. Okay. So the second is students pick up on their own. This is the second myth. Myth means it's not true. Okay. No, students will pick up on their own. It's wrong because how the students will pick up on their own because maybe some of you will be a teacher in the future. That's why we're discussing this one. How the students will pick up on their own in the future if they are not learning the proper ways. Correct? How they will just okay, just learn on your or you heard, just practice it. It's not like that. The reason why we have this pronunciation practice is to practice, to learn the proper way. So some will learn to pronounce the second language intelligibly, many will not. That's correct. So if it so happened that Maria is living with her parents and they have like an English speaker at home, then Maria there's a chance that she can have a good pronunciation. But what about those normal students who are from the village who don't have a chance to hear or to speak with someone else, to hear the proper pronunciation of word? You will just say teacher, teacher, teacher. So it's really different because that's what they're hearing every day. Okay, teacher, and then teacher. So this is the second myth of the teaching of speech pronunciation is neglected. The next, let's proceed to the number 3 and number 4. Let me ask Sand, number 8, to help. Sand, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, please. Inadequate.
Inadequate instruction in speech. Pronunciation can lead to incomplete breakdown in communication. The whole life
Proliferation
of communication, accent reduction, service. It is as sight as many
ESL.
Teachers are not meeting their students' needs for speed.
Pronunciation.
Instruction.
Okay, next.
The goal of speed pronunciation instruction should include to help the
learners speak in a way that is easy to understand and that not distract the listener to increase the self-confidence of the learner and develop the skill to self-monitor and adapt one's
own speech. Thank you, Sand, for your help. Okay, it says here, inadequate instruction in speech pronunciation can result in a complete breakdown in communication. Okay, the proliferation of commercial accent reduction services is seen as a sign that many ESL, means English as a second language teachers, are not meeting their students' needs to speech pronunciation instruction. Okay, first problem that I can see here is that most students who are receiving speech pronunciation practice cannot understand the instructions. You know, teacher is giving instructions in English, but the Thai students like, huh? Yeah, my kaujai, they will tell, my kaujai teacher. So it is also a big hindrance or a big problem for a teacher to teach the proper pronunciation or introducing the speech sounds because of the language. So it's really difficult. It's a struggle. But then again, as a teacher, you should find a way or you should do your best on how you are going to let them or to make them talk. Okay, make them practice to enunciate, to pronounce clearly. Next one, the goals of pronunciation instruction should include to help the learner speak in a way that is easy to understand and does not distract the listener, to increase the self-confidence of the learner, and to develop the skill to self-monitor and adapt one's own speech. So it says here, easy to understand. Okay, that is our only purpose. That is their only goal why we are learning the proper speech pronunciation. Because we want to be understood. We want people to understand or we want to speak clearly that the message that we are giving should be heard from the person who is listening. That's the only goal. We don't learn the speech pronunciation because, oh, I want to become an astronaut or something. That doesn't make sense. Okay, so speech means talking, and in talking you should be understood and you should have delivered a clear message of your speeches or whatever it is when you are talking. Okay, so let's proceed. We have here number 19, Tay.
Yes, teacher.
Please.
Even when the listener does understand the speaker, the presence of accent that is difficult to understand can produce anxiety in the listener that he will not understand what's coming next and cause him to end up conversation earlier or avoid difficult topics.
Yes.
Intelligibility of speech in comparison to native-like accent has been experimentally reported to be of greater importance of the second language speakers as a way of increasing intelligibility of speech has been recommended by some researchers within the field.
Good job. Thank you. So it says here, even when the listener does not understand the speaker, the presence of an accent that is difficult to understand can produce anxiety to the listener that he will not understand what comes next and cause him to end the conversation earlier or avoid difficult topics. I know maybe some of you may like experience listening to like a speaker, like trying to speak in English, but the accent and the pronunciation is just too difficult to understand. The message was about happiness. You, as the listener, get the anxiety because like, what is she talking about? I don't understand a word. So you'll get stressed instead of going to that particular event to be motivated to become how to become a good person, how to become a loving individual. And because of the speaker, it creates something negative, different. And if you are talking to a person who who don't speak well, like don't pronounce the word correctly, so there are two reasons: either to avoid talking to that person, to stop the conversation as soon as possible, or you try to avoid the difficult topics. Just like when you're talking about food, and then suddenly she talks about robots, she talks about mountains. So it's like, what is she talking about? So that is very big factor. Instead of you being motivated, you will be demotivated. Okay, you will be head after the, what was that? That was horrible. So you will be inspired. But the title of the event is inspirational event to empower. But then again, because of this bad speaker, the result is negative. Next one, it says intelligibility of speech in comparison to native-like accent has been experimentally reported to be of greater importance for the second language speakers. As such, ways of increasing intelligibility of speech has been recommended by some researchers within the field. So it says here intelligibility of speech in comparison to native-like accent. Okay, so next one, the prestige is quite a lot. Nampech, are you ready for this?
Teacher, hello.
Yes. Okay, just do it slowly. We're not in a hurry, okay? Just okay, please.
Certain accents are persuaded to carry more prestige in a society than other accents. This is often due to the association with the elite part of society. For example, in the United Kingdom, received pronunciation of the English language is associated with the traditional upper class. The same can be said about the predominance of sufficient Brazilian accents in the case of the Brazilian variants of the Portuguese language, especially considering the disparities of prestige between most cultural influence. Speech associated with rural environments and rates of formal education, together with the Portuguese spoken in some other communities of lower socioeconomic strata, such as several rural and other or cultural variants, such as middle and upper class. For instance, dialects spoken from western Sao Paulo to the east, and Fluminense dialects spoken in the states of Rio de Janeiro
Yes.
to the other side. Inside southeastern Brazil itself, however, in linguistics, there is no differentiation among accents in regard to the statistics or correctness of language, and accents are linguistically equals.
Thank you, Nampet. It's quite long, but you made it. Thank you. All right. It says prestige. Certain accents are perceived to carry more prestige in a society than other accents. This is often due to their association with the elite part of the society. For example, in the United Kingdom, received pronunciation of the English language is associated with the traditional upper class. Okay, and the same can be said about the predominance of southeastern Brazilian accents in the case of of Portuguese language, especially considering the disparity of the prestige between Caipira-influenced speech associated with rural development and lack of formal education. Okay, so together with the Portuguese spoken in some other communities of lower socioeconomic strata, such as favela dwellers, favela is like it's like the poor community, and other sociocultural variants such as middle and upper class Paulistano or dialect spoken from the greater Sao Paulo of the East, and Fluminense dialect spoken in the state of Rio de Janeiro. This is in Brazil. To the other side, inside the southeastern Brazil itself. So, however, in linguistics, there is no differentiation among the accents in regard to their prestige. Is or correctness, all languages or accents are linguistically equal. So what we're talking about here, like if you are born in a prestige family or in the upper class, they have this different language, which is somehow I understand, because for these rich people or people in the higher society, their social life is different. Okay, and the people with the poor people or the people in the low income class, they are also associating with different people. So that is normal, I think, because those rich people, they are talking with CEOs or the manager, head of the companies, and they have their own like language and words that they are using because they are in that level. And for those people who are live in poverty or in the lower class, they also have their local accents or dialect. So, but it says here, all languages and accents are linguistically equal. It says. So now, accent, stereotyping, and prejudice. So this is very common issue. You know, that when you are talking in your own accent, people will mock you or make fun of you. You know, like, look at him, look at her, how she speaks English. It's very funny the way she pronounced the word and also. This is also another big issues in the societies that we're having right now, especially in social media. Okay, please read Prem number 21.
Stereotype refer to
Specific
characteristic traits and roles that a group and its members are believed to possess. Stereotype can be both positive and negative, although negative are more common.
Second, stereotypes.
Stereotype means the stereotype may result in
Prejudice.
Which is defined as having negative attitude toward a group and its member. Individuals with non-standard accent often have to deal with both negative stereotype and prejudice because of an accent. Researchers consistently show that people with non-negative accent are just and less intelligent, less competent, less educative, having poor English language skill and
unpleasant
unpleasant to listen to. Not only people with standard accent subscribe to the belief and attitude, but individuals with accent also often stereotype against their alter accent.
Okay, this is very, very serious. Thank you, Prem. It's very serious issues because it says here that stereotypes refers to specific characteristics, traits, and roles that a group and its members are believed to possess. Stereotypes can be both positive and negative, although negative are most common. Okay, when you say stereotype, like have their own standard, you know? So stereotypes may result in prejudice, which is defined as having negative attitudes towards a group and its members. Individuals with non-standard accent often have to deal with both negative stereotype and prejudice because of an accent. You know that they are bashed in social media or wherever it is if they don't have the standard accent. So what is a standard accent? What is an acceptable accent? They set the standard actually. Okay, as we've learned that okay, accent is not really that matters, you know, because you should have the correct enunciation of words. But the stereotyping is very serious. Most of it you can receive negative comments. They will bash you how you mispronounce the word, how you say the word. Instead of saying this way, you say it in the other way. So it's more on negative, okay, negative feedbacks. So it says researchers consistently show that people with non-native accents are judged as less intelligent, which is true. It's very sad. Less competent, less educated, and having poor English language skills and unpleasant to listen to. See, it's very bad, you know, that I'm always telling this to my students, even way back in my old school. I always tell them, English is not the measurement of intelligence. Do you agree with me? English is not the measurement of your intelligence. Do you agree with me or not? Because, yes, no, you cannot tell that, oh, she speaks good English, that she's smart. No, it's not. English is just a language, you know? It's just a language. Many Americans speak like English because that's their native language, but that doesn't mean they're educated. But that's since they were a kid, they were a baby, they speak English. But in our, like, especially here in Asia, you know, when you speak, your accent is not that good, people will criticize you. They will tell like, she's less competent, less intelligent, less educated, having poor accent. So you are criticized based on how you speak English. That's what our society is. Oh, she's not so good. Maybe she's not smart. Do you agree to that? Okay, so you as the future educator, maybe if you will get a chance, you should let your learners feel that we should learn how to pronounce the word correctly, but we should not judge people based on their English. It's too bad. Okay? If you judge people based on how they say the word, their accents and all, then put their situation into your situation. Just think that it was you being bullied with somebody else because of your English, because of your accent. How would you feel? It's quite sad, you know? So not only people with standard accents subscribe to these beliefs and attitude, but individuals with accents also often stereotype against their own and other accents. Yeah, so I feel sad because this is very common here in Asia. But when you're talking to a native speaker, believe me, they don't care about your accent. They don't care about it. As long as you are understood, as long as they get your point, doesn't matter to them. Okay, it's just a language and you're communicating. The reason why we're learning how to speak it. It's communication. It's not that, oh, whatsoever. Okay, let's proceed. Too much of that. Let's ask number 23. Fana is absent. Yes, Fana, please. Miss Fana.
Hello, teacher.
Yes, I can hear you, please.
Okay. In some cases, the way you hear someone can be more impactful than what you actually hear. Humans can and often do judge each other as soon as someone says hello. Even as they continue to speak, you might have already identified the type of person with whom you are speaking. Apply existing stereotypes and generalization form my whole about that type of person, and in a way categorize them. People associate different behaviors and stereotypes with different accents. In some cases, these notions can hold some truth, but are often blown out of proportion. This can lead to generalizations about entire culture.
Thank you, Fana, for that. See, this is one of the things. So it says in some cases, the way you hear someone can be more impactful than the way you hear. Humans can often do judge each other as soon as someone says hello. So they mean, oh, pasangkrit. They will just turn their back. Then you turn the other side. You admit it, it's true. If someone says hello, so now you are having that in mind. Oh, English, detour. Change your way. It happens to me many times because I don't speak fluent in Thai, and people like many times that they mistakenly thought that I am Thai. So every time I see them, I have to greet them, but okay, sawadi or sawadika, I will tell hello, like in the morning. They will not say anything, but what they will do, they will take a detour, go this way. So it's like that. So it is a little, it's stereotyping, you know. People associate different behaviors and stereotypes within accents. In some cases, these notions can hold the truth about other after blown out of proportion. This can lead to generalization about the entire cultures. Okay, so let's continue. Who can? Meow, are you ready for this? Number 24. Susan, you can. Meow, are you there? Meow, number 24.
I'm here.
All right. Meow, can you please do the favor?
เริ่มตรงนี้ใช่ไหม First people
Yes.
people purchase a most of test in other but on
Based
two
on
factors
two.
stemming solely from the way they speak. First, people naturally relate to and form connection with other people when they can. It's comforting to the mind to find someone like you. An accent is an easily identifiable
Identifiable. Okay. Identifiable. Okay.
factor with which to make a connection, even if it subcon
Subconsciously.
subconsciously.
Okay.
Second, are your previously held conception
Held conceptions. Okay.
about people with Caucasian accent
Despite
forming a connection with someone. This factor could cast it the dynamic created by these two factors that work to shape your trust in a specific person or general population for that matter. With an identifiable accent, additionally, perspectives like British accent are seen as
scholarly
or intellectual in America, while in parts of Ireland and part of Europe, they are looked down
upon.
Upon.
All right. Thank you so much, Neil, for your help. Okay. So it says here that people place certain amounts of trust in others based on two factors stemming solely from the way they speak. First, people naturally relate to and form connections with other people when they can. It's comforting to the mind to find someone like you. An accent is an easily identifiable factor which to make a connection, even if it's subconsciously. Second, you are previously held conceptions about people with certain accents. Despite forming a connection with someone, these factors could clash. It's the dynamic created by these two factors that works to shape your trust in a specific person or general population for that matter. With an identifiable accent, additionally, perspective is the key. Okay? So there are other people like when you speak British accents, they will think of you like smart, intellect, scholars. Maybe because of Harry Potter, the movie. Okay, because if you speak in a British accent, people will be like, wow, British accent. Okay, that is in America. People will wow if you are speaking in that dialect because as they know, good schools are using British accents. So if you speak in that accent, they will wow you because of thinking that you are a scholar or you are intellectual or smart. So, but in the other parts of Ireland and in Europe, okay, they look down upon. It's not the same whether you are having a good accent, bad accent. If you're not in the correct place, people will still criticize you. Okay, so it's like become like a norm. All right, so let's continue. What's the next? Okay, let me read this very quick before I get somebody. So accents have even found to be more impactful on perception than known social dividers like race, religion, or sex. In P&A study, babies were told to choose a toy from two recorded speakers with varying characteristics. Ahead of all the variables tested, including race and gender, recording speaking with an accent native to the child were selected at considerably higher frequency. Okay, so now let's move to the accent discrimination. Discrimination, can you help me read it, Moni, number 25?
Discrimination refers to specific behavior or actions directed at a group or its individual members based solely on the group membership in accent discrimination. One way of speaking is used as a basis for arbitrary evaluation and judgment. Unlike other forms of discrimination, there are no strong norms against accent discrimination in the general society. Rosina Lippi Green writers.
Okay, so this is, thank you so much, Moni. So this is the, what is this? What should I say? The discrimination that is written by Rosina Lippi Green writes. So it says here that discrimination refers to the specific behaviors or actions that the group or its individual members based solely on the group members. In accent discrimination, one's way of speaking is used as a basis for arbitrary evaluations and judgments. Unlike other forms of discrimination, there are no strong norms in accent discrimination in the general society. Excuse me, someone is calling. This might be something important. Hello? Okay, so refer to behaviors or actions directed to a group. So next one, let's move to mild. Let's read.
Accent if at the first point of gatekeeping because we are forbidden by law and social culture and prevailing by a prevailing set of what is morally and
ethnically right.
Ethnically right for use in race, education, homeless on the community more
directly.
We have no sure confirmation about language. Touch since become a
litmus.
Therefore, using and sure to turn away to reconcile the other.
All right, thank you, Mild. Okay, so it says for Mild, read it. Accents serve as the first point of gatekeeping because we are forbidden by law and social custom, and perhaps by a prevailing sense of what is morally and ethnically right. From the using race, ethnicity, homeland, or economics more directly. Okay, we have no such compunctions about language. Thus, accent becomes a litmus test for exclusion and excuse to turn away to recognize the other. Okay, so there's nothing more to explain to that right now. We still have so much to discuss, but accent discrimination. Okay, let me just read it very quick so we can move to the next topic. Okay, so it says here, speakers with certain accents often experience discrimination, housing, and employment. Okay, so for example, speakers who have foreign or ethnic minority accents are less likely to be called back by landlords and most likely to be assigned by employers to lower status positions other than those with standard accents. This is the reality. If you have a different accent, you are discriminated in the society, you know? So if you apply for a job, accent is that good, especially if you are in a foreign land or in a native speaker's land, they will look down on you as we have discussed earlier. They will think of you as less educated. They will think of you as less intelligent. Okay, so even though you are capable enough in your educational background, you are good, you have your master's degree and all, they will not put you into a good position or higher position. They will always put you in the low Very true. This is okay. In business settings, individuals with non-standard accents are more likely to be evaluated negatively. Accent discrimination is also present in educational institutions. For example, non-native speaking graduate students, lecturers, and professors across college campuses in the US have been targeted for being unintelligible because of accent. I hope it is not happening here in Thailand. I hope it's only in the US. Okay? So if you are a non-speaking graduate student, even though you are very good in everything, your grades are all A's. And or if you are a lecturer or a professor, okay? But if you are not a non-native speaker, you will be like, yes, you will be treated differently from the native speakers. They will just view us less smart, less intelligent people. So we're just thinking that accent is just the how people speak. See, as what we have discussed now, there are many things related or associated with the accent. It's not easy, you know, when you are dealing with this kind of thing. So I hope you guys, my dear students, you will not have this kind of mindset that if your teacher is not a native speaker, you should not discriminate people. You should show the same respect as all your teachers. Okay? Because many times I want to tell you that English is not the measurement of your intelligence. You should remember that all the time with you. Okay. So next one. Second language speakers have reported being discriminated against or feeling marginalized for when they attempted to find a job in a higher ranking positions, mainly because of their accents. On average, however, students taught by a non-native speakers do not underperform when compared to those native speakers of English. This is another one. So, actually, there are people who are like prefer to study or learn with a native teachers. And for that reason, they want to adapt the culture, language, the accent of the teacher, which is, as you know, it's almost impossible by just learning from that teacher. If you don't have the effort within you to learn, it's nothing. It has nothing to do with your teacher. If you don't have interest in learning the language, if you don't have interest in how to pronounce the word correctly, the teacher has nothing to do with it. You know, that doesn't mean that if your teacher is non-native, the teacher teach less than the native ones. So you should change that mindset. Okay, some English native speaker students in Canada reported a preference for non-native speaker instructors as long as the instructor's speech is intelligible. See, this is nice because you don't judge them because they're coming from Asia and they're teaching in the USA. That doesn't mean they're not capable to teach. This was due to the psychological impacts such as circumstances has on the students, requiring them to pay closer attention to the instructor to ensure they understand them. Okay, this is the second language speakers discrimination. And I hope this will never happen. Okay? It says here, studies have shown the perception of the accent, not the accent by itself, often results in negative evaluations of speakers. In a study conducted by Ruben in 1992, students listened to a tape lecture recorded by a native English speaker with a standard accent. Okay? There was a study conducted by Ruben. So there was a tape lecture recorded by a native English speaker with a standard accent. Standard accent meant they don't really recognize whether it's American, British, Australian, or whatsoever. They were then shown the image of the lecturer. After they listened to the recorded tape, the image of the speaker was revealed.